Sometimes a really specific story, something quite personal, can actually shine a light on much bigger things.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're diving into today. We're looking at the search for a missing cat named Fedi.
Right. And on the surface, yeah, it sounds familiar, maybe. A lost pet.
Exactly. But this search, it was documented really intensely through a series of Facebook posts, hashtag Fedi post 1 through 22.
And it's that documentation that makes it fascinating. It becomes this window into, well, the bond we have with animals.
And the incredible lengths people go to when that bond is threatened. It's really something.
It is. It's more than just finding a cat, isn't it? It's about dedication, hope against the odds, and how communities can sometimes rally in surprising ways.
Totally. So Fedi went missing March 19th, 2025, and these posts, they track the search pretty much in real time over the weeks that followed.
Yeah.
So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive is to sort of pull out the key moments, the ups and downs, the emotions.
And maybe some of those surprising twists and turns in the search.
Exactly, to give everyone listening a real sense of what happened and maybe why these kinds of stories, hit such a nerve.
And as we go through it, post by post, chronologically, you really see how this one single focus, just find Fetty, reveals so much.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning, the first few days. Posts from March 24th to the 26th. What hits you first is that wave of despair,
I mean,
right?
definitely, that feeling of loss. But almost immediately, there's this mobilization, people jumping in to help, especially online.
Yeah, in those Facebook groups, it's like an instant digital search party.
It really is. That first post, Fetty is here and simultaneously also not. I mean, that just captures the weirdness of it perfectly.
It does. And right away, never giving up. That sets the tone, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the call for help goes straight to those online groups. It shows how vital those networks are now, like for sharing info fast, getting people involved.
And you get those first little glimmers as potential leads, like the possible sighting in graphing.
Right, even
But
though the cat wasn't there when they got there.
yeah, but the fact they immediately drove out, searched, it shows that initial burst of energy, just pure hope, really.
And distributing flyers, putting up posters,
Yeah.
and that mention of the kind stranger who helped.
Oh, yeah, that was lovely.
It really underscores how even small acts of kindness mean so much when you're going through something like that. It's reassurance,
Hmm.
you're not totally alone.
Definitely. So by the 1 week mark, maybe the initial adrenaline is wearing off a bit. You sense the anxiety creeping up.
You do. But then there's that really key moment drawing on past experience.
Reich, the previous cat.
Exactly. Reich, who came back after 4 weeks, that becomes this, personal proof that it's not hopeless.
It's a mental lifeline, isn't it? When you don't have many concrete leads, remembering a past success.
It's classic psychology, really.
Hmm.
Reframing the current struggle. It helps build resilience, stops despair just taking over completely.
Okay, so moving into the next period, March 27th to the 31st. Here, the emotional side feels even stronger.
Oh, yeah. The memories of Fedi get really, really vivid.
Those specific little details. Her greeting at the door, the way she slept on the sofa, the kneading thing before sleep.
Hashtag FediPost4, I think it was. It's so evocative, you can almost feel the fur, hear the purr.
And it's the absence of those tiny, everyday things that makes the pain so sharp.
Precisely. It's a physical void almost, not just emotional.
Then comes another possible sighting. And this is where that emotional roller coaster really picks up speed,
Right, the uncertainty. Is it her? Is it just a look-like?
leading to the decision to set up a wildlife camera.
Which marks a bit of a shift, doesn't it? From just reacting to leads to proactively trying to gather actual evidence.
Yeah, trying to get some control, some objective data in a situation that feels completely out of control.
And during this time, the search area physically expands too. Gross Saturn. Plain egg.
Because if she's not being seen easily, maybe she's stuck somewhere.
That suspicion grows, yeah.
Yeah.
That she might be trapped nearby, maybe in a shed or a basement. It's a common scenario, unfortunately.
And they're still using scent trails with worn clothes, which feels very, instinctive.
Trying to appeal directly to her senses, yeah. Using familiarity.
And Paco, the other cat, gets mentioned as being involved somehow.
Yeah, maybe sensing the absence or reacting to the owner's distress. It's hard to say for sure, but it adds another layer.
And then there's the anticipation,
Yeah,
the search dog.
Yeah.
That feels like a big step up.
definitely. Bringing in professional help, specialized skills, it shows they're not giving up, they're escalating the effort.
So April begins, and we hit 2 weeks missing. The posts from April 1st to 5th, that emotional seesaw is still going strong.
If anything, it's even more intense.
Another call, another potential sighting in Graffelfing, exploring an abandoned property.
And in that moment, speaking to the roadside Jesus statue.
Yeah. Wow. That really tells you something about the emotional state, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. At that point of vulnerability, seeking comfort or help from literally anywhere. It shows how deeply invested they are. The first search dog plan gets canceled, though, which must have been a blow. It must have. But the reason not wanting to scare Fidi away if she was nearby after those possible sightings, that shows careful thought, doesn't it?
Yeah. Prioritizing her well-being, adapting the plan. Still putting out flyers, though. Community awareness is still growing.
Which is crucial. More eyes looking, more chance of someone spotting her.
Then the focus narrows onto that property in Graffelfing with the 3 empty houses, a black cat seen there.
And then the photo. The blurry photo of a cat on a roof.
Oh, that must have been a huge spike of hope.
Followed by intense scrutiny. Is the fur gray or brown striped? Are the paws the right color? You can feel the tension.
Analyzing every single pixel, desperate for it to be her.
It's that hope-disappointment cycle again. So draining. But even then,
The kindness keeps coming through, the community support.
that's the constant thread, isn't it? People offering help, encouragement. It's like emotional fuel.
It really seems to be. But the lack of confirmed sightings, that must amplify the helplessness.
Hugely. Which leads to putting the wildlife camera, with food this time, on that empty Greifofing property. Another attempt to get concrete proof.
And those vivid, painful mental images of Fedi that get mentioned, it just brings home that deep connection again.
Yeah, the constant worry, imagining where she might be, if she's okay. It's relentless.
Then there's that look back, recounting the moment she actually disappeared, the frantic first night search, contacting Tasso, trying to piece it all together.
And running through all the possibilities, the scenario.
Trapped somewhere, injured and hiding, like Reich was.
Accidentally got in a vehicle. That opens up a huge range of locations. Germany, Austria.
Stolen. Or the worst case, those stressing there's no evidence for that.
It's a logical process, trying to make sense of the unknown, but agonizing when you don't have answers. And the Reich story provides that one specific, hopeful scenario to cling to.
But the camera on the empty property, no luck.
No. So it's back to pounding the pavement, searching with a neighbor around those private garden plots.
And remembering another cat got injured there once, adding this specific local worry.
Exactly. Local knowledge guiding the search. And those late-night walks continue. The quiet searching, just reflecting. It's pure dedication.
Moving into April 6th to 10th, we get these false alarms. Cats reported in Kärnten in Haar.
Which just highlights how hard it is to ID a cat from a photo alone.
Yeah.
Especially tabbies.
So many look similar, and it really drives home the importance of microchips.
Absolutely. Like what that cat found in heroin, the chip was the key to getting it home. It's definitive proof when looks can be deceiving.
So the search continues, focusing on new areas for flyers, still banking on community help, hoping for that microchip scam.
But you feel the fatigue, right? Constantly comparing photos, trying to stay objective when you desperately want it to be Fedi.
Definitely. Then there's a moment, a shift. A positive feeling returns after weeks. That must have felt huge.
Like a little bit of light coming back in. And it coincides with really carefully analyzing the photos of that Har cat.
Yeah, the detailed comparison, paw color, fur patterns, concluding it wasn't Fedi. Painstaking work.
But the silver lining, like you said, that cat did get reunited with its owner. So the effort wasn't wasted. It helped someone else. It reinforces that these searches can work.
There's also a shift towards thinking about the impact on loved ones, especially mom.
Yeah, acknowledging the wider emotional ripple effect.
And those late-night searches continue in Griefelfing, observing the quiet, the stillness, thinking about Fedi facing other animals like foxes or martens.
Right, that encounter with the fox while out searching really brings those potential dangers to mind.
And a 3 a.m. search, just the silence, a bird starting to chirp, playing cat meows into the quiet. It's a powerful image.
Just solitary perseverance. And again, the memory of Reich returning keeps that hope flickering.
New tactics are being tried now, too. Scent trails again, but using worn clothing this time.
Getting more specific with the scent. And revisiting all those theories again.
Trapped. Vehicle. Stolen, though, deemed unlikely. An accident, maybe with an e-scooter. Or the unthinkable.
Still no evidence for the worst, but it hangs there. The emotional struggle is obvious.
But routine helps. Updating flyers, the postmaster being supportive, those little things provide some structure.
And remembering the good times. Fedi's energy in the garden, climbing trees, those memories fuel the search. Remind you what you're fighting for.
Okay, 3 weeks missing now. April 11th to 15th. The toll, physical and emotional, is really clear.
You can feel the exhaustion creeping in, relying on Paco's meows during the night searches.
Like maybe he knows something or is just part of the ritual now.
And then that lovely detour into their history. Fedi being the outgoing kitten, Paco initially shy. Their adoption story.
Learning the word no, exploring the house together, it's a nice moment grounding us in who these cats are.
It really is. It emphasizes the personalities involved, the bond they share, and what's been lost from the household.
The difficulty of identifying cats online comes up again. Photos are just so variable, lighting, angle, condition of the cat.
Which leads back to that strong plea for mandatory microchipping and registration. It could solve so many of these ambiguous cases.
Totally. But alongside the frustration, there's also real appreciation for the online communities, the support there.
That seems genuinely inspiring, the way people engage and offer help.
Then a moment of hitting rock bottom,
Yeah.
feeling profoundly helpless.
Completely understandable after 3 weeks of searching with no breakthrough.
Turning to mom for support, reaching out to radio stations, trying anything, still pushing the construction company for info.
Refusing to give up, even when feeling overwhelmed. And always thanking the community for their words of encouragement.
More searches prove unsuccessful. Paco's involvement seems variable, and the feeling grows that Fedi probably isn't in Greifelfing anymore.
Yeah, the lack of signs there makes it less likely. But instead of resignation,
Renewed determination. A 4 a.m. search. Just, wow.
that speaks volumes about the commitment, doesn't it?
It really does. Then waking up after barely any sleep, remembering Fedi's usual spot, walking familiar routes that feel empty now, checking online groups first thing,
The routine of loss. And then that visit to the construction site.
getting the runaround at first, then finally getting into the underground garage, finding nothing.
But the caretakers showing empathy. That moment of connection, of being understood, seems to trigger a strong emotional release.
Those moments of unexpected kindness seem so important. Then organizing all the search notes, trying to impose order.
A necessary step, probably. And still calling for her, using familiar sounds, hoping to reach her if she's trapped and scared somewhere.
An evening with a neighbor, Kati, who's also lost pets. Sharing that grief, planning to search together, another connection forged through loss.
And meeting the owner of the cat that was mistaken for Fedi earlier,
Yeah.
leading to this wide-ranging chat about everything. AI, society,
A brief mental break, perhaps, connecting on a different level.
maybe. And then back to it. Late night walk with Paco, one last check of Dreffelfing. And finding a flyer vandalized.
Ugh, that must have been so disheartening. A small thing, but still.
A little kick when you're already down.
So we're approaching 4 weeks. April 16th onwards. The posts show a life now totally consumed by the search.
Yeah, Operation Find Fedi has become the entire focus. Acknowledging how much life has changed, but refusing to accept it. Always needing to do something.
Using a fitness app to track the sheer distance walked daily that makes the physical effort very real.
Kilometers every day. And still holding on to that hope. Someone finds her, scans the chip.
Normal activities don't bring joy anymore. Everything is overshadowed. A friend arrives with a night vision device, another tool.
Resourceful. And the skepticism about pet psychics comes up grounded in cost and lack of proof.
Yeah, pragmatic. Even adjusting personal habits like soap for the search and hoping the full moon might increase cat activity.
Looking for any potential edge, any reason for hope.
Then that late night search under the full moon, Paco's there. It sounds incredibly atmospheric, poignant.
Talking to the moon for help. Searching fields, a park. No response. Driving back to Greifelfing. Seeing another cat, briefly.
Just sitting silently at the empty property, that vigil.
And Paco comes home with a mouse. A little slice of normal cat behavior in the middle of all this strangeness.
The internal battle, hope versus despair, is right there. And then talking directly to Fedi again, urging her to respond, mentioning neighbors leaving shelters out.
A really personal, heartfelt plea into the night.
And then a breakthrough, or at least a positive sign.
Yes. A neighbor leaving their garden shed door open a crack, just in case.
That small act sparks real optimism. And then the big news, the search dog team can come, finally.
That must have been a huge relief, a major boost.
Yeah.
Preparations are made, Paco kept inside. Andrea and Petra arrive with the dog.
And the dog gets the scent.
Yes, leading out of Martin Street, across the main road, Wurmtalstrasse, and into the Lochhammerslag, a wooded area.
And crucially, the dog indicated she didn't go through the highway underpasses.
Meaning she's likely in those woods, hiding, That's massive. A defined search area, at last.
Wow, so immediate action. Laying a scent trail back home from the edge of the woods.
Trying to give her a path back. Searching the woods at dusk, calling, playing meows.
Visiting a little chapel in the woods for a moment. Turning off the flashlight. Just listening.
Trying every sense. Encountering glowing eyes, probably a marten. Heading home, full of gratitude for Andrea and Petra.
And planning the next steps. More scent trails, more searching the Lochhammerschlag, and another message to Fedi encouraging her.
You can feel the shift in energy. There's a concrete focus now.
There's also that honest moment, acknowledging personal impatience flared up by the stress, but quickly pushing past it. The mission is everything.
Operation Find Fedi continues. Flyers and Hater now, framing the search, keeping it visible, juggling work, watching Paco.
Then the second dog search. 2 dogs this time.
And both confirm the scent trail. Leading into the Lochhammerschlag, that really solidifies it.
But it's a huge area, dense undergrowth. It's daunting.
Absolutely. Laying specific scent trails as instructed by the experts. Another nighttime search alone this time, calling her name.
Seeing wildlife, but no Fedi. Returning exhausted. Planning again for the next day. More thanks to the dog team.
And another message to Fedi, acknowledging the scary new environment, urging caution, but telling her to listen for them.
And finally, we hit the 4-week mark exactly.
4 weeks. The vastness of the Lochhammerschlag feels overwhelming. More scent trails being laid. Flyers in another nearby area.
A really long walk, laying a trail from Hettern through the woods to Greffelfing, reflecting on the woods, lack of benches.
And that encounter with the mother and her child with Down syndrome, prompting these broader thoughts about life, fairness, challenges.
Laying another trail in a different part, a fairy tale forest. A moment of raw frustration, questioning why things are the way they are.
That cry of why, directed at the universe almost. The emotional strain is immense.
Returning home, utterly drained. A quick nap, dinner. Looking back over the 4 weeks, how life has just revolved around this one thing.
Speculating again, how did she even get to the Lochhammerschlag? In a van. Chased. The not knowing is torturous.
Setting up the wildlife camera again, this time in the woods with food. A night search with friends using the night vision device.
Seeing animals, foxes, deer maybe, but not Fedi.
And the final post in this sequence ends with another message directly to Fedi, acknowledging her fear, but also her intelligence, promising the search won't stop.
And recalling that specific happy memory of her returning playfully when called before, holding on to that image.
It's a powerful place to leave it for now, still unresolved, but with a clear direction and unwavering commitment.
Absolutely. The story isn't over, but this chapter ends with focused action in the woods.
So you've heard the journey. This deep dive, it really does go beyond just a lost cat, doesn't it?
Oh, completely. It's an emotional epic, really.
Hmm.
You see incredible dedication, amazing community spirit, hope, despair, the whole range.
And sheer persistence, the refusal to give up.
And through it all, you get these insights into, well, human nature, our empathy, the strength of the bonds we form, especially with animals, and what we're capable of when those bonds are on the line.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How much impact a small creature can have and the extraordinary things we do when someone we care about is at risk.
It does.
What lengths would you go to? What hidden reserves of dedication might you find? It's something to ponder, I think. The value we place on compassion, on community, especially when things get tough.
It definitely highlights the power of those connections, often underestimated until they're tested.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the search for Fedi.